Hi guys, welcome to video number 2. I'm Chelsea. This is my assistant Louie. Hopefully he doesn't bark. There's some construction workers across the street, so he's been going freaking nuts and driving me crazy. So this is video 2 of my series of how the Akashic Records came into my life, and this video and the following videos will be what it's been like for me to go in for the first time and opening the records for other people. If you haven't, I would watch the first video, Things I'm Ready to Tell You, as that sort of just kind of sets up to where I am now. So to start, I did mention this in the first video, but I basically read How to Read the Akashic Records by Linda Howe, and I didn't do it, like I read the book really quickly, but then once I was finished, like it took me 10 days to read the book, and then I just kind of put it down. I was like a scared little chicken to open it, and I did open it, I guess. I did open it, but just didn't really do it right, didn't really get my frequency aligned. I was just kind of sitting there. I was like, okay, this fucking doesn't work. Like, I don't feel anything. Nothing's happening. Like, is this thing on? And I just kind of closed it really quickly. And then I think a couple days later, I had this dream, which I said I mentioned before, but in my dream, I opened the Akashic Records and I saw this book in front of me, and it was like outlined in gold light, and all the writing was in this kind of gold shiny light. But the book itself, like the pages, it was see-through. So if I held the book up, I could like see through it, and the pages kept turning, and there was just all this writing, kind of like old cursive looking writing. And like it would stop for me to read the page, and then it would turn again. And it felt like I could feel the power in my body. It was so intense. And then I remember in my dream, I was like, shit, I'm in the Akashic Records in my dream. Like, I need to get out of here, because what if I'm just do something wrong? I don't know. And so I would try to wake up, and I felt this intense pressure in my ears. Like, almost like when you dive deep underwater, like it really deep, where you're like, this is starting to hurt. Like, it was just really uncomfortable. And anytime I'd come up, I'd feel the pressure when I would try to surface back up to my conscious state of awakeness. So I'd go back down. I'm like, no, I really need to wake up. I don't want to be in the Akashic Records right now, not using my full conscious mind, but, you know, asleep. And I could feel like pressure on my chest too anytime I would try to wake up. And I finally did. I said the closing prayer in my dreams to close the records, and I woke up, and I remember just like touching my ears and being kind of like, you know, when you wake up from a dream, you're like, that was way too real. And so I think I waited a couple days, and that gave me kind of like this energy of like, okay, I know I can do this. Like, I have this gift. I know I can open the records. And so I went in, and so in the book, I actually heard this voice that said, go in, like a really clear voice. And I was like, okay, I'll go in, dude, sir, whoever you are. And so I'll just read you. I kind of wrote in my journal, my diary, about that experience. So I'll just read that for you. But I only did about 7 minutes. In the book, it recommends first time, just kind of going in for 7 minutes just to get used to it and how you feel. So I went into the Akashic Records, and I did about 7 minutes. As I was finishing my opening prayer, my body began to feel really heavy. Like only my chest and my arms were so heavy, as if I was wearing one of those, you know, when you go to the dentist and they put the x-ray like outfit on you, and it just kind of like sits on top of your body. Not much happened, but I did feel calm and peaceful. And then the one message I did receive, and I don't have to read what that's, I'll just talk. I'm not gonna read from my journal. But the one message I did receive was, in movies, you know, when like someone who's like a hero or a superhero, they get their magic powers, and it like beams out of their hands, and they like shoot up, and they like start flying. And so basically the message was, this power isn't going to be like how you see in the movies with the superheroes, like where they just suddenly recognize their power, and then like all this magical stuff happens that you can like see. It's going to be more subtle than that. And so that was just the really clear message of, trust my feelings, trust what I'm feeling, and don't expect like freaking light to shoot out of my hands. And then later that evening, after I went in for the first time for reals, I felt so tired, and my body was so heavy, and every time I closed my eyes to sleep, when I was like in bed later, I kept seeing like flashes of lights, almost like if you've ever taken psychedelics and you close your eyes, if that's relatable. If not, that's okay. But like you close your eyes and it's almost like you just want to open your eyes because you keep seeing these flashes of lights, like it's kind of uncomfortable. So that happened to me when I was trying to go to bed that night. And then later in the evening, I got up to go to the bathroom. And I've seen this before, but I saw this neon grid just on the floor and on the walls, about like 1-inch squares. And I've seen this before. I did a sound bath at the Integratron. And I was sober. I wasn't on like alcohol or whatever, like healing drugs you want to think of. But I remember seeing the grid was bigger, but I've seen the grid multiple times. It's usually after I've come out of a deep meditation. It's always when it's dark, but it basically just covers the entire floor and walls. So if you've seen that grid before too, slide into my DM, I guess. I don't know. I'd like to hear your experience with that. But eventually, so I did fall asleep and I woke up just feeling so light and so happy. And so after that first week of really going in, I felt that. I just was like, everything was just sort of like smooth, and I just felt like kind of childlike. Like I just felt like I was always smiling. And remember I dropped like an entire bowl of food onto the floor and I was just like, you know? So I noticed that, and I think I could feel Aaron responding to me differently. I just was I was a freaking bundle of joy to be around that week. So you know, the people around me were responding to that. But then even energetically, I had people just randomly reaching out to me. And so again, what I've explained in the first video, it's like when you up level your energy, your frequency changes and new people start coming into your life. And I mean, for me, it's been like a couple new people, mostly all people I've known since I was like in middle school, have come back into my life, but they're also up leveling as well. So we're like becoming friends in that way. So let's see, I have my show notes, make sure I go over everything. And so during that first week of just feeling so amazing, after going into the Akashic Records, I went in like a couple of times, mostly just to like practice, and things would happen. It's really hard to receive messages in the beginning, or it's a practice, because when you're listening with your real ears, I guess, like your focus, how it feels to me, like feels right here. And I'm not saying your third eye, but the focus is there. But when you're listening to your inner being or like your voice, I can feel the focus here on the back of my neck, or maybe it's like inside in my throat. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's just, even last night I was in the records and that's where I noticed, where I was trying to like listen with my physical ears, that's where the focus is. And then when I'm just, and how the message comes in, how the messages mostly come in are like if you repeat how a song sounds, and you're repeating the memory of how something sounds. So it's not like someone's like actually here talking to me. It's the memory of, it sounds like the memory of someone talking to me. Does that even make sense? But so moving forward, so this was about all within the first week of actually opening the Akashic Records for the first time, and I wanted to practice on someone else. So I had my friend Emily Mearns. She's one of those beings that came into my life, where I've known her for so long, but we just kind of connected on Instagram because we were both sharing and posting similar things and just into this sort of very esoteric woo-woo spirituality thing. So I knew she'd, like, if you meet her, talk to her, she's just like this bundle of sunshine. Like she's just like that all the time, and it makes your like heart really happy to be around her and talk to her. So I read her records. I opened them with her permission. She got some questions together, and it was just one of those like trial and error, because she asked about a question about a past life, and I didn't even think about it. I was like, oh, I'm not ready to do that yet, but I won't go over like her specific questions and answers, but I noticed like when I opened her records, I felt the sensation in my body. It's like when I'm halfway done reading the opening prayer, my body starts to get heavy, but it's almost like someone's hugging you heavy. It doesn't hurt. It just feels like really like warm and cozy. Like if you have one of those like weighted blankets on you, it's like pure comfort. And this hasn't happened any other time, but when I was trying to receive the answers, my eyes were fluttering. I couldn't control it. So that was just sort of my first experience with that. And it was good. I mean, there's a couple things, like I saw more images than heard in my mind's eye, more things about her. But I also had my eyes closed. And so from that point, I knew going forward, I would try to practice with my eyes open. And I mean, she freaking loved it. So I think for me, my insecurity came in where I really wanted it to be stronger for her. And I shouldn't have been so hard on myself of like, this is my first time opening the Akashic Records for someone other than myself. And I've only been working with it for about a week. So a lot of that ego came in, that little mind chatter, mind stuff of like, you suck, you know, you're a loser, you can't do this. So, but it gave me the inspiration. So I just did her records. I was like, all right, cool. Chat to you later. And she was so cute, so sweet. She shared her experience on Insta story. And so I shared her story onto my story because technology, and just kind of shared about it. And a lot of people were texting me about like, what the hell is this? And so I was like, you know what? I'll just see if I can get like a couple friends or people, and I'll just put out the word like, hey, I'll read your Akashic Records for free, 50 free, if this interests you, thinking no one would sign up. And I had so many messages. I think I had like about 13 to 15 people respond, where I had to say like, okay, I had to like do my limit at like 5 people. And even that felt like a lot. So it was actually really exciting though. Kind of like one of those, like, you're doing the right thing. And so yeah, so next week's video will be on what it was like opening the Akashic Records for those 5 people and moving forward with the records. I think that's it. Louis? He fell asleep. So anyways, thank you guys so much for joining in and watching. And if you have any questions or comments, always you can direct message me, or yeah, or you can email me. I don't know. If you find a way to contact me, feel free to do so. And I will see you guys next time. Thanks.